Elementary music teacher friend, you love what you do, but you might feel unappreciated and, in fact, unseen some days. You may even feel like you're on a music teacher island and just want to connect with other music teachers who can relate to both your struggles and wins when it comes to teaching elementary music. I get you and understand completely the feelings you're having. That's why each and every week, the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast will provide you with solo and guest episodes that will help you realize you're not alone in your music teaching journey. Throughout each episode, my goal is for you to be able to walk away with actionable steps and ideas to help you feel like you're ready to take on the new week with whatever challenges may be thrown your way. Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Peresta, and I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're at home, in your car, in the shower, or wherever else you're listening, grab your cup of coffee or whatever other beverage is nearby and listen in to the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm going to share some tips and tricks that have worked for me when it comes to bucket drumming. And so, just like anything else, if you go on social media, blog posts, or wherever else, you're going to see a lot of different ideas presented around bucket drumming. I would not consider myself an expert in the area. I just know what's worked for me. And a lot of what I share in this podcast, I encourage you in the fact that you know your students better than anyone. Use your expertise, and just kind of a lot of teaching is trial and error. So a lot of what I've done with students over the years with bucket drumming is just things that I have experimented with to see what works, what doesn't work. I like that. I didn't like that. Let's do this differently, and those kind of things. First of all, let's talk about the actual buckets. In order to do bucket drumming, you need buckets. First of all, before I had anything, I've talked before in my first teaching position, I didn't have any instruments. Well, not only that, I didn't have money to go out and even purchase plastic buckets. So I did, though, was finally able to purchase some rhythm sticks. And so my students not only did a lot of rhythm sticks, I'm looking at you, Franklin Willis, he is the king of teaching rhythm stick activities, but they did a lot of rhythm stick activities, but we also did a lot of rhythm sticks on the floor. So the first form of bucket drumming I ever did, and if you don't have access to buckets, this is what I want to encourage you with, is we would drum on our floor. I had a tile floor, so yes, it got super, super loud, and we'll talk about ways to kind of get past the issue of the noise and that kind of stuff. And then after that, we started, which this was not a genius idea on my part, but I went from that to doing red solo cups, the plastic cups. And those were great, except they move everywhere. So a lot of times students would hold the cup with one hand and hit it with a stick on the other. Of course, I had to teach them about not hitting it too hard because they would snap, crackle, pop. After that, the next variation of bucket drumming, we moved to plastic Tupperware. I brought in some from my own house. It's very inexpensive to buy. You can ask families if they have any you can use and things like that. You can use any kind of textbooks, and that can be the air quote drum, until you're able to get buckets for your classroom. Just basically what I'm getting at is think outside the box. I've had to do that a lot in my teaching career, just thinking outside the box. I don't have this, but I could do this. Okay, I'm not going to be discouraged because I don't have money to purchase this, but what can I do? So think along those lines. When you are able to purchase buckets, of course, a good starting spot is at your home improvement stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever else. There's a lot of them. And look at the different buckets there. There are some I know that will donate to teachers. Also, you can request buckets with your school budget, but also look at sites like Donors Choose, and there's a lot of other ones where people are willing to donate to your classroom if you're ready to purchase buckets. PTA, PTO, whatever it's called at your school, look into asking them to purchase it, give them a price of, hey, this is how much it'll cost. And maybe you can't get a whole class set of actual buckets, but you can get maybe like enough for 1/3 of the class to use. That's perfectly fine as well. So first of all, getting the buckets is obviously step one. Now, what I do before the kids even start playing the buckets, once you get the actual bucket drums, is we talk about holding the sticks. Just like if you teach anything drumming, a lot of times our classroom instruments in the elementary music classroom, the drums are obviously hit with the hands. But when it comes to drumming, or when you're teaching kids how to hold rhythm sticks, show them where to hold their hands and how the sticks will bounce in their hands. Just like if they're holding mallets at a xylophone, you want them to kind of be bouncy. You don't want them to have a firm grip, but they want to be bouncing. Show them where to hold the sticks towards the bottom of them so they can have that flexibility to bounce them on the actual bucket drum. After we do that, you're going to teach them the different parts of the bucket that they can play on. We have the rim, or the outside. Of course, you have the outside of the bucket itself, basically the side of it is what I mean. And then the top part, the top circle part. So I will literally say it just like that. I will say rim, side, top. So kids will learn where I want them to hit it. And we talk about not just hitting it in that spot, but we also have them explore the way it sounds. How does it sound when you hit the rim? How does it sound when you hit the side? And how does it sound when you hit the top? Then from there, we obviously have the discussion, which as an elementary music teacher, you've probably done this a lot, that you don't even have to use the word hit, because as we all know, if you use the word hit, then the kids will hit and it'll be extremely loud. So you can use the words like play, or sometimes I've even used the words touch the drum with your sticks, or tap the drum. Whatever word that comes out of your mouth, in order to get the kids to retain that word and how you want them to play the bucket. There's nothing wrong with them playing loudly, but we all know when kids get an instrument or a bucket, they get really excited and it kind of becomes a contest of who can play the loudest, which is not the point of it. So teaching them not only how to hold the sticks, where to play on the bucket itself, and then how loudly you want them to play. As they explore the sounds of the bucket and how loud or soft different areas that they play on the bucket will be, they will notice that, okay, when I'm playing on the top, I don't need to hit it as hard as I can because it's already going to make a loud sound anyways. This is a great way to integrate dynamics and exploring that with your students. So from there, this is where you get to have fun, and you can start just simply by just keeping steady beat. And this is how I start. I just start by keeping steady beat, and I will yell out different patterns I want the students to play. So for instance, I'll say top. So we're just going to keep a steady beat, left, right, rotating, top, top, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, and so on and so forth. Then I'll say steady beat on the top together. So the hands are hitting at the same time. Let's do quarter note, ready, go. Top, top, hands are together, top. We're still just on the top. And I kind of talk to them just like that as they're playing. Then from there, you might say, okay, now we're going to do a quarter note rhythm, but we're going to go top, rim, top, rim. Hands are still playing together, top, rim. And then you can go eighth note rhythm if you would like, just on the top. Eighth note, T, 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 or whatever. So you see what I'm saying? You call it different patterns for the kids to play, just a steady beat. Then you can start implementing rhythms on. So for example, I might go side, top, rim, 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 side, top, rim, 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 side, top, rim, rim, rim. Then you can, of course, teach them the rhythmic values and the actual counting the rhythms themselves. From there, when they're ready, I love to go to YouTube. So when you go to YouTube and just type in bucket drumming, you're going to see a whole plethora of videos come up where there's play along videos, but also you will sometimes see some songs come up where you can find various songs that kids can play rhythms to the bucket drumming. Now, what I like to do, even on Spotify, I have made a Spotify playlist for bucket drumming. Go to Spotify itself and type in bucket drumming, and you'll see a whole lot of drumming songs. Create your own playlist for students. So when you're doing bucket drumming, you just push play. You have all these play along songs. And what I like to do is I will say, as a class, and this is with upper elementary grades, we will come together and say, okay, for verse 1, this is the rhythmic pattern we're going to do. When it gets to the chorus, this is when we're improvising, only using these rhythms, but you can improvise how you're playing those different rhythmic patterns anywhere on the drum. Verse 2, we're going to do this pattern together, and so on and so forth. I've even done it where students are in small groups and we have the same song, but the students will make up their own rhythmic patterns together in a group giving them some guidelines to follow like that. So bucket drumming is super fun. Do not be intimidated by it. Oh, and there's so many other things I could talk about in this episode with bucket drumming, but I just wanted to kind of give you a quick tip episode about getting started with bucket drumming, not being intimidated by it, and just having fun with it. If you have any questions, of course, let me know, and I would love to hear your ideas of what you do with your students as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Well, hey there. Thank you so much for listening into the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast. There is an exclusive Facebook group just for listeners of this podcast and any elementary music teacher called the Elementary Music Teacher Community Facebook group. Come on over and join us there where we have conversations around the podcast episodes and encourage each other each and every week. And also head to my website, thedomesticmusician.com. I have some free resources there that you can download to help you gain traction in your classroom today, as well as the blog and the membership site and all kinds of other goodies to help you keep going in your music teaching journey. I cannot wait to keep connecting with you and encouraging you and spurring you on in your journey of teaching elementary music. Hang in there, have an amazing week, and I will see you soon.